Hello everyone, my name is Adriel Galdames and together with my partner Belen Gutierrez are going to talk about the use of ICTs in Chile for teaching a second language and why this can become a problem. Nowadays, technology can be easily accessed and with it, its great benefits. Technology can be applied in different areas such as security, health, transportation, and so on, helping us to make our life easier and better. The question is, can technology be applied in teaching and learning a second language? The short answer is yes. Here's when we start talking about the ICTs, which became popular since the 90s and nowadays they are spread all around the globe. Before we move on, let's talk about some theoretical aspects concerning the ICT. And for that, I would like to answer the following question. What are the implications of ICTs when it comes to teach English as a second language? On January 2015, Dr. Mostafa wrote a paper related with the integration of technologies into foreign language teaching. In this paper, he stated that ICTs are not a methodology of teaching, but they can be highly useful when it comes to support and to develop already existing methodology of teaching or approaches. He also said that ICTs can not only help when developing or implementing methodology of teaching in different situations, but he also stated that they can help to motivate and create more interesting lessons for both teachers and students. Also, Dr. Mustafa carried an experiment in which he used 99 students to prove whether it was beneficial or not to use ICTs when learning. The results were very clear. Students proved to learn better and more efficiently when using ICTs.
A paper published by Samira Hussein in 2011 named ICT for Language Learning stated the benefit of using ICTs for second language teaching. In terms of teaching, the possibility to adapt easily the teaching materials according to the circumstances, the learner's needs, and the response. First, we have that ICT allows to react upon and enables the use of recent or daily news. It offers also access to authentic material on the web. We have also that a quick feedback is made possible. In addition, we have the possibility to combine or use alternately basic skills such as text, images, audio, or videos. We have that lectures become more interesting and less ordinary, which boost the learner's engagement. ICT enables to focus on one specific aspect of the lesson, for example, the pronunciation or the vocabulary. She also clarified the benefits for the students. First, we have that ICT increases learners' motivation and thus enhances personal commitment and engagement. ICT improves independent learning. The learners' collaboration and communication are more important, and learners' attainment and outcomes are improved. As Jaya Kenan and Pilar Monday stated in 2018, ICTs have been presented in our lives from a long time, but also some preconceptions have limited our access to them. Here is where we start to see the issue about ICTs and their implementation. A research carried by Enrique Nostroza, Cristian Lave, and Magdalena Claro, implemented in both secondary and primary schools, stated that first teachers use ICT with their students. In comparison, secondary and primary, secondary this behavior is more common in secondary than in primary. Then, teachers use ICT without the students. There is a huge difference between secondary and primary because this behavior is way more noticeable in secondary than in primary. Then we have students use ICT for other purposes. Here there is a less difference between secondary and primary, but in secondary there is a higher percentage. And finally, students use ICT to study. In this state, both secondary and primary are equals. In second and third graphic, we can see the difference between primary and secondary schools and the time that they spend on internet. Some conclusions that we can have from this study are first that the most of the time the students are in touch with ICT are just for being on internet searching random things, but less of the quantity of ICTs are used for educational application. Also, we can say that this study shows that most of the times the ICTs are used for being on internet, but not necessarily for educational purposes. And there is a tiny part of that time that ICTs are used for educational purposes.
In 2018, Lisa Soain, Ortiz de Sararte, and Becky carried an experiment in Chile concerning the effectiveness of teaching English by using ICTs. This experiment took place in some rural schools in Chile, and the results were the following. The students, as well as the teachers who used ICTs for teaching as well as learning, showed a significant improvement in learning and teaching. Even more, some students starting to develop some abilities and capacity to produce and to learn in an autonomous way, meaning that they prove that by using ICTs they can not only learn within the classroom but also outside the classroom. This means that ICTs can potentially improve and help students to develop new skills and to reinforce ones that they already have. Many investigations have proved that ICTs are highly beneficial when teaching and learning English or any other second language. But this is still being a problem in Chile. Why? Because most of the infrastructure that is related with ICTs and is available in Chile is mostly used for administrative purposes and not for teaching or learning. Therefore, more researches and investigation needs to be done in order to understand the context and why this is happening, as well as to know how we can cope and deal with these problems and to get an effective solution in the short term as well as in the long term. We have agreed that the best method of approaching this problem is first by knowing the context of the teachers, schools, and students in Chile, because ICTs can be easily adapted depending on the context. But for that, we need to carry experiments and investigations to precisely know what is the context of Chile. The second solution that comes after the first one is to analyze the data and take the best approach to solve this problem. But also, it is important not just to take and give instructions to teachers and students about how to do things or what to do, but also it is important to tell them and to give them information about how ICTs can be beneficial for learning a second language, in this case English, and how they can take fully advantage of these technologies not only in the classroom but also outside of this one. ICTs can effectively work when teaching and learning a second language, but the misuse is always going to be present. To avoid all of these problems and issues, is our responsibility to understand the context and prepare ourselves to use them effectively and properly to take all the advantages that these technologies can offer. That's the end of the video. I hope you like it and thank you so much for watching it.